Hello and welcome to Same Cast Different Day podcast. I'm Martel Roland and we got a few things to talk about on this episode. Now, mind you, none of this is in order. Try to do my best to put everything in order, but we'll just see how it goes. So last week we had a talk about like food stamps. Um, I forgot what they call the SNAP benefits. And people were talking about how that they shouldn't be used for certain things like buy sugary products, sodas, cakes, juice, and all these other kind of things. So I wanted to show this was one of the comments that was up on our Facebook page where it says almost all people on staff have added cash to purchase necessary grocery. It doesn't matter if it covers soda or not. If it does cover soda, it will save the SNAP users 7% on or whatever their state tax is, as tax is not added to SNAP purchases. So if soda is purchased with it, they save the sales tax, which is a minor savings benefit. If it does not cover it, they pay the sales tax. That's it. Either way, it doesn't really matter. Is what April Benson had to say about that um, matter. Now I'm not sure if it's they're saving tax just by using a Quest card. I don't know. That's a Quest card. Well, remember, so that's what they call a card here. There's that benefits. My whole thing is like I said, I have there are times where people, they do receive SNAP benefits, and it's still yet not enough to pay for or household, so they come out of pocket on some cash from to add with the groceries. Like I said, like depending on how many people you're cooking for a certain meal. Like I said, if you want to make tacos for a family of or five, you're going to spend at least $100 just on tacos and just to make tacos. It just depends on how many people you're feeding and what it is kind of meal it's gonna cost you some money. And like I said, food stamps is not enough money for some households to be able to feed that family for a whole on the where they add money, cash, if their SNAP benefits. And then this is also one of the be able to buy cakes, candy, and soda, cakes, candy, uh, and soda, chips, and other junk food items. But as far as bacon, lunch meat, and other nutritionist products, yes. And then that was made by David Bone. So Laurie, is Laurie or Lurie? I don't know. I hate to tell you that bacon is not good for your heart or cholesterol levels, and lunch meat and all processed food, hot dogs, sauces, etc., are full of preservatives, and those are also things that you can buy when it comes to food share benefits. So let me know in the comments what you guys think of this whole SNAP benefits. Whether you think that it should be allowed to, like for people to make purchases for sugary goods with SNAP benefits, or do you even care? And does it even matter? So let me know in the comments. So to keep the show going, uh, there was this story going around that I didn't know about a young man who went out for the Fourth of July weekend, and he just went missing. And I knew nothing about this that was going on. It was all over social media, TikTok, and I just found this out like a day or two ago. So I'm going to play a clip of a breakdown of it, and then we're going to come back and discuss.
Ma! Ma! Ma!
18-year-old Nolan Wells died under mysterious circumstances on Horn Island. His parents believe there is more to the story and have hired civil rights attorney Ben Crump to investigate. On July 4, Nolan went with friends by boat to Horn Island, but was left behind and never returned. His mother reported him missing. 2 days later, his body was found in the water off the island's northwest end. Authorities suspect drowning, but the cause of death has not been released, and a toxicology report could take weeks. Well, however, his parents are deeply skeptical of the investigation. Crump says Nolan's phone was brought back by friends and several messages were reportedly deleted. His parents cannot understand how a healthy football player just days away from his 19th birthday could die so mysteriously. Crump says investigators have not told the family whether murder is involved, and they fear the case may be quickly dismissed as an accident. The body has been sent to Washington, D.C. for an independent autopsy to determine if there are any other injuries beyond drowning. Or his parents said, "We will not let this be swept under the rug. Why did a young life end so suddenly over a holiday weekend?" The family is still waiting for answers. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments.
So like I said, I had no idea that this story was going on, because I kept on seeing posts and different videos where people were saying like, hey, if your son is like, if you have like a black son or daughter and their friends are majority white, you need to stop letting your kids be the only, black person during these activities, whatever. So I didn't know what the whole thing was about until I started seeing actual story reports about what happened and this young man coming up missing. And also, actress Jennifer Lewis made a statement about this. I want to play that statement that she posted. I got this via TMZ, so here we go.
Stop killing our children, son of a bitch. We don't care if you think you're rich. We love our children and the color of their skin, and we're getting tired of being called as the next of kin. You twisted monsters are going too far. Don't you know your own children will suffer if you keep magnifying this civil war? The people are becoming more and more empowered. You can hide your face, but not your soul, coward. Once again, we love our children and the color of their skin.
So that was actually my first time seeing that. And I do have some other clips related to this, but I try not to be a person where I tell people like, oh, you shouldn't hang out with certain racial groups because of all this. But this is really starting to make me really wonder and really think about being the only, brother or sister in public outings. Like now it's not safe. These people that you were supposed to be safe or feel safe around, these people are supposed to, I don't know how I don't even know how to describe it because of the craziness. But like these are people that's supposed to be like your friends, your homies, like y'all supposed to have my back. I got your back, we got, whatever. And y'all I just end up missing, and then y'all take my phone, bring my phone back, and delete messages on my phone. Like, what is going on? And then after I started seeing these videos, then I came across this video, and I was just like, wow. So here we go.
Just so we are clear, none of this is okay, and none of this is normal. It has been 1 week since the body of Jerrard Jackson was found hanging in a wooded area in Michigan right outside the Electric Forest Festival that he was attending. His death was ruled a suicide. It has been a little over 2 weeks since the body of Toné Miller was found hanging in a park in Miami. Her death ruled a suicide. It has been a little over 2 months since the body of Juliana, 16-year-old, found hanging near a church in Charlotte. Her death ruled a suicide. It has been about 4 months since the body of Kyle Basinga was found in Georgia hanging. None of this is okay, and none of this is normal. It has been less than a year. It will be a year in September when they found Trey Reed's body at Delta State University in Mississippi. His death ruled a suicide. And you may be asking, Rashonda, well, how many black people walk around with rope on them? The answer would be none, Helen. 0. Because none of this is okay and none of this is normal.
Now, are we saying black people don't commit suicide? No, we're not saying that, because there are black people who do. So a lot of those where she was talking about, these people were basically hung, and it was ruled a suicide. Only one I knew about was the Trey Reed, but the ones before that, we reported on the Trey Reed story last year. But the ones before that, I had no idea that these black people, these young black men and women were coming up missing and hung in places. And like she said, like, we don't walk around and carry rope and like, oh yeah, we're free to go do that. Like, I just don't see it. And if we're hard to keep saying like, yeah, these are keep being ruled as suicides, like, it has to be something that's going on. Well, we know it's something that's going on, because like I said, it's just frustrating. It's frustrating for this stuff to be going on. It's frustrating to keep seeing this stuff over and over, and it's almost like we can sit back and be powerless. Like, especially if it's not brought to the awareness and not being, should I say, if I've only saw this on social media, that story about the other, just people recently about these other stories. So like, these stories were buried, and it just breaks my heart that, this is what's going on. And it like I said, Connecticut is in the north, but a lot of these southern, like, people be like, "Why I won't live in a southern state." This is why I feel more, even though, like, no, you're not safe anywhere in this world. There's just no safe place in the world, but I feel a tiny bit more safe living in the northern part of America than I would in the southern part of America. And I want to play this other clip because I have found this very interesting also, and I want to play this other clip for you.
Okay, so let me share some information with y'all, right? So the top row, the first one, Colt Gray. He killed 4 people, right? Injured 4 people. He was armed. He was arrested by the police alive, right? The second one, Dylan Roof. He killed 9, injured 1. He was armed, and he got arrested by police alive. Third one, Peyton, murdered 10, injured 3, armed, and was arrested alive. Travis, murdered 4, injured 4, armed, arrested alive. Bottom row, Sean Bell, murdered 0, injured 0, unarmed, was dead. Shot 50 fucking times. Stephen Clark, second one, murdered 0, injured 0, unarmed, dead. Shot 20 fucking times. Jalen Walker, murdered 0, injured 0, unarmed, dead. Shot 90 fucking times. Sonia Massey, murdered 0, injured 0, unarmed, dead. Shot in the fucking head. So I know what you're about to say. Stop making it about race. Tell the cops that.
There are some people that's gonna say stop making it about race, and that's one of the things I believe we have talked about in this podcast before, where white people were out communities, mass murders and crimes and stuff like that, and they were taken into custody alive. And here we are, these black people. I don't know what some of these arrests were for, but it wasn't cause for them to be shot dead. Is what I'm saying. More than likely, if a black person was to come in contact with the police, and they wonder why black people are so scared of the police when they get pulled over, because there's a good chance that they're going to end up dead by the time they get through. Well, just they think they're going to never finish it because they'll be dead. But that's just the reality of black people. And like he said, like the other guy, 14 times. He killed 14 people or 10 people, or the man that was shot 90 times. Like they overkill. Like we seen and watched the documentary where It's the young man that was shot in Chicago, and he was shot dead. He was shot multiple times. They like even after he was on the ground, they continued shooting at his body and killed him right there in the middle of the street. And then the police tried to cover it up. Like it's crazy, and it's almost like interactions like this, like it shouldn't end with a black person being shot and killed. Like I said, people keep on saying, "Oh, racism isn't alive anymore." It's very much alive. It's very much alive, and we're still very much fighting just to be on the same playing field. Like we're not even born equal. We're not born like y'all. Like some people, you're already born, 100 steps ahead of a black person, and then as soon as we try to catch up, at least get 50% of the way there, there's some type of something you throw in front of our way to stop us every single time. There, like I said, I don't believe in my lifetime where I will ever see um a world where where racism is just doesn't exist. I don't think I'll ever see that in a lifetime. And I feel like the only people who are keeping racism alive and is still teaching their children or grandchildren to be racist is the silent generations that's still around. People like Mitch McConnell generation, people that was born that's like 80, 90 years old and that are still alive are teaching racism. And then the because of what for far as black people, far as the silent generation, so for what they went through. So because of the things they went through, it was almost like they taught their children, which would be the baby boomers, um, to basically fear white people. And as time go on, it's like a little of that still goes away, but there are still pieces of each generation where they're taught to act a certain way and be a certain way around them because of the fear of what would happen if you were to be a certain way. And like I said, that continued on with Gen X. Like with Gen X, you start to see a little breakdown on the racism, like from them, it's like start to, you know, but it's still there. And like I said, each generation is still. I don't feel like the newer generation is. It's just like, everybody's supposed to be happy, but starting with like Gen Zs, because even with millennials, it's still like me. I'm a millennial, and it's still embedded in us to still be a certain way around them, or we was always taught that we have to work harder than them, or we was like I said, it wasn't always rainbows and sunshines and all that kind of things. Like I like how some other generations now see it that way, but to keep the story going, so I feel like I spent too much time on that. Let's head into some clips from our buddy Aaron, in which Aaron is going to talk about some of the things like concerns I believe I talked about a few weeks ago when it comes to these data centers that's just been popping up everywhere. So there's two separate videos. I'm going to play both videos and then we're going to come back and discuss. So here we go.
The head of America's largest utility is issuing an urgent warning right now that you could lose power next year due to the rise in data centers and the lack of energy in America's electricity grid. Calvin Butler, the chief executive of a company called Exelon, which is the largest U.S. utility by customer count, spoke to the Financial Times and said that Americans could absolutely lose power next year due to shortages, specifically in power plants in the Northeast and the Midwest. He said that it came very close last winter to curtailing power to hundreds of thousands of Americans. He also says that your electricity bill is going to rise pretty quickly because it's necessary to fund infrastructure for the AI boom, to fund data center construction and management. And it comes as PJM, another utility which operates in the Northeast and Midwest and recently had possible issues during the heat wave, says it's going to face a 60 gigawatt power supply shortage over the next decade. This is an energy crisis that not enough people are talking about. So spread the word, follow for more.
So I talked about this with data centers earlier. I remember talking. I don't know when, but it was an episode of the podcast. And I was like, the American grid for electricity is very outdated. Is very outdated, and it needs to be upgraded. And like I said, then with all these AI data centers popping up, it's not a good thing with them sucking up all the energy, and then that cost. Like, why are the people who own these data centers are not picking up the cost of the electricity? Like, they need to be paying their fair share of electricity, and that cost of them not paying their fair share should not be passed on to residents who basically don't have a say so. These corporations need to start paying their fair share. Why is it so hard for the federal government to understand that? Oh yeah, it's right because we got Donald Trump as president. But let's head into this next clip of this energy crisis.
The United States has an energy crisis, and the largest power grid operator in the United States now says it's under a federal alert to reduce energy consumption in areas where we're seeing 100-degree heat in places like Washington, D.C. The power grid in parts of the country is literally at risk of shutting down because of energy overuse. Our nation can't handle it. So according to Reuters, the largest U.S. power grid operator, PJM, said today that it was now under a federal alert to cut electricity consumption across its territory because it is battling generator outages, massive overloading on its transmission lines, and a surge in air conditioning use from prolonged sweltering heat. PJM says it's told utilities to reduce electricity to customers who are under contract to reduce consumption during emergencies. That's folks in the Mid-Atlantic, the South, and the Washington, D.C. areas. 67 million people are now potentially at risk of having reduced electricity consumption in sweltering heat. The United States of America has an energy crisis. Spread the word. Follow for more.
Now, this week we are going to be heading into another heat wave, and I wish they would tell me I need to reduce my energy usage because these data centers, like maybe the data centers need to reduce their energy usage somehow to stop everybody from melting. But yeah, it's not fair. Like something needs to be done. I don't know what can be done. If y'all got any suggestions on what people should do or how they should handle this, please let me know. 'Cause I am all out of ideas. I hit the wrong button. But yes, please let us know in the comments. So apparently there was an explosive diarrhea outbreak. Let's watch the video and come back and discuss.
Wait till you hear this shit. Taco Bell stores across the country in various states are starting to remove certain ingredients off their menu because of the explosive diarrhea outbreak that we're seeing across the country. So as you know, there's this explosive diarrhea parasite going on. Over 1,000 cases in Michigan, hundreds in New York. Over 17 states across the country have explosive diarrhea right now. And folks I've spoken to, well, it's explosive. So now Taco Bell, out of an abundance of caution, in many stores, including in Detroit, are pulling certain ingredients, including, for example, pico de gallo, guacamole, onions, lettuce, lots of fresh produce, because this parasitic infection, many people believe, can come from food. And while they still don't know what the cause of the outbreak is, Taco Bell is saying, you know what, we don't want to get anyone else sick. So just be aware. By the way, the Trump administration literally stopped programs to monitor this parasitic infection, but I digress. Spread the word. Follow along to stay updated on all the news you need to know about. More to come soon.
Well, with all the rumors about, late night tacos when it comes to Taco Bell, I'm just saying, woo, what a thing. Oh, all right. Well, let's head into this next one. So this next one is some craziness that's been going on, and I'm just like, why is this man? Let's take a look.
Donald Trump has left instructions for his own death. This afternoon, the president has confirmed he has left a letter for Vice President J.D. Vance in the event of his death. In the event Iran were to assassinate Donald Trump, J.D. Vance is instructed, according to Trump, to bomb them like we've never seen before. The exact quote is to bomb them at levels they've never seen before. And it comes as a Trump Lego effigy has been burned in Tehran, the capital of Iran. It comes as Kill Trump signs are plastered all over downtown Tehran as millions come out to mourn the late Ayatollah Khamenei. And while here in the United States, Trump acknowledges that Iran may be planning to kill him. So much so that he did not take the newly minted Qatari Air Force One jet from Turkey back home. Why? Because of security concerns. And now Trump has made plans for if he were to die. Follow for more.
Yeah, next story. I'm not just, yeah. So, in case you guys didn't know, a few weeks ago we reported on a police officer that was caught using what they call a flock camera. He was basically using this tool to stalk his ex-girlfriend and her boyfriend. Well, a second officer has now been charged with doing the same thing. So let's take a look at this.
A second Milwaukee police officer is now criminally charged for allegedly misusing the department's flock safety camera surveillance system. Detective Taranji Chapman faces 2 criminal charges, including a felony for misconduct in public office. I'm Ben Jordan, an investigative reporter for TMJ4. I've been following this story for months. Now here is the twist. Prosecutors say Chapman was one of the internal affairs investigators who investigated the first officer's misuse of flock. You may remember the name Josue Ayala, a former Milwaukee police officer who pleaded guilty to searching the locations of his ex-girlfriend and that person's dating partner more than 200 times. Now back to Chapman, prosecutors say he searched the locations of 2 victims a total of 20 times using the search terms test and training. You have to remember, flock safety searches are only supposed to be used for criminal investigations, and prosecutors found this was for personal use. I reached out to the Milwaukee Police Department's police chief to request an interview on Wednesday night, to which he declined. I also reached out to Chapman's attorney, but I have yet to hear back. Chapman is due in court for his initial appearance next Friday. That is just 2 days after Ayala is scheduled to be sentenced.
It almost makes me wonder, like, what make you think that you was going to get called? Like, you investigated the last officer who misused this system. Then you going to go back and do the same exact thing? And now you sitting in like, criminals are just not people. I don't even know. Should we call them, I guess, criminal? People are just not the smartest when they come to doing this kind of stuff. And like I said, if it's only supposed to be used for criminal investigations and all these other kind of things, like, then why do these like only certain people should have access to this system? And I feel like any MPD officer or whoever get access to the system, which I don't think they should have access. Every officer shouldn't have access to this system. It just, it's a mess, and I just wish people would just do better, to be honest. Let's talk about people being out of touch. Matter of fact, I'm gonna show you a clip of people being out of touch. So here we go.
They're in their 20s,
yeah,
and they've never had real jobs, and they're complaining things are expensive. Yes, things are expensive when you don't have a real job.
That's right.
Do you think that's getting traction, complaining?
Unfortunately, I do, because this generation, my generation, I hate to say it, Gen Z and those younger than me have been raised with just silver spoons in their mouths, just getting everything handed to them.
You two are so wrong. In the past 30 years, adjusted for inflation, the home prices have gone up 35%. The asking rent has gone up 35%. College for a 4-year state tuition has gone up 100%, and health insurance has gone up 150%. Yet real wages have only gone up 20%. And I'm using 20% based on the median, which is $64,000 $100,000 today. Most Gen Zers are making about $50K. In fact, about 80 million Americans are making $50K. So if they're doing their health insurance, their 401k and taxes, they're walking away with $3,100. If they're renting an apartment with a roommate, it's $1,100 with utilities, $400 for groceries, $400 for student loans, $400 for a used car, $175 for car insurance, $150 for gas, $100 for cell phone and internet, and $100 for personal care, leaves them with $275 a month. And you wonder why they're complaining. In this example, they have no credit cards, no children, no pets, no travel, no vacation, no fun, no dining out, no door dashing, no Netflix, no HBO Max, nothing, and they're left with $275 a month. This is the reality of the people who are watching the news, hearing this shit. 100 million people are struggling. We're trying to help people make more money and get the wages up. So please stop getting on the news and talking down to an entire generation. And if you are somebody who's never been broke or paycheck to paycheck after the pandemic, you don't know the pain that these people are in. And Jesse, if anyone from your team sees this video or people want to tag him, have me on for 5 minutes, Jesse. Let's have a civil conversation. Let's talk about the data, not the emotions of it, not left versus right, the data, the numbers, and the solutions that we can bring so that people can start being excited again.
That first lady looked like that Erica, whatever lady that's married to the dude that got unalived last year, Charlie Kirk. She said she was Gen Z. Golly, she looks older than a Gen Z. But anyway, Gen Zs are going to work. Like I said, there are some who work full-time hours. I know there's a few that works for me. They work full-time hours, and like they said, everything's just so expensive that the fact that a lot of people just are not caring about work anymore. People are tired of just working to try to survive and still not surviving or barely surviving. Like, people are just over it. And then you get people who get on TV and say that and say what they just said. Then you get more people who get on TV and try to act like Republicans are helping, but they're not. Let's take a look at this clip.
There's a poll that dropped today that said that 95% of Americans, not 95% of Democrats, 95% of Americans believe that there's an affordability crisis in this country, and that 2/3 of the country believe that, including 50% of Republicans, that the federal government's not doing enough on this. So Donald Trump can get up there and say all he wants, that there's great love in the room and that there's amazing unity, but this is not going to help him with these voters come election. And the thing that I'm really paying attention to is their own spending is the thing that's really telling you that there's a problem here. Because if you're dropping $28 million from a super PAC aligned with the Senate Majority Leader, the Republicans, into Ohio, $11 million into Iowa at this point, $40 million into a state that Donald Trump won by double digits 2 years ago, spoiler alert, things are not going well.
Spoiler alert, things are not going well. Then I guess during a news conference, he was on TV not making sense and did this.
Now, there's a thing called TikTok. Have you heard of it? You know who the number one person in TikTok is by far? Trump, me. I just got, I'm number one. Like Taylor Swift was number 11. I'm number one in TikTok by far. And the numbers just came out, and I said, well, you know, I'm hearing about how they influence. They're talking about their tremendous danger because they influence, but if they influence so badly, I mean, I'm saying all things like I love our country, we got to stop communism, we got to this and that, we're doing a lot of things, but I'm by far number one. It was sent to me by, you know, the list comes out, number one, number two. I was number one by a lot. So I guess maybe, I don't know, maybe they're bad, maybe they're not. I know one thing, great American people, tremendous business people and companies bought it.
First thing first, that lady need a sandwich. Second of all, with everything that's going on in this country, I mean everything that's been going on, you're worried, you care more about being number one on TikTok, if he even is the number one person thing. I didn't know TikTok even put out a list of number one. Since Taylor Swift was 11 and he was number one. Why is that part of the press conference, like, or whatever it is that you were doing? I just don't get it. I don't. I don't get it when it comes to this current administration. I don't get the way people follow. Everybody who was standing in there in that background behind him, like, what is he talking about? Yeah, he's crazy. He don't know what he's talking about. He looks like they all looking at him like, yeah, he's very unhinged. Like, I wish he had talked about something else, because this is like making us really look bad. So, anyways, let's move on to, because in that previous video, they was talking about the new Air Force One that was supposed to be gifted to the United States. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, let's take a look at what Don Lemon has to say about the new Air Force One.
Another day, another grift from the Trump family, Donald Trump. Okay, this is the new plane that was gifted, allegedly, to the Trumps, or Donald Trump, from the Qataris. Okay, $400 million plane. They said it was a gift. We're not paying anything. Well, that is a lie, because the American taxpayers are paying hundreds of millions of dollars to have this retrofitted and more security. Now, Donald Trump says he's accepting this because it's going to go to his presidential foundation or library or something like this. Okay, really? Now, let me show you guys something, because this is what no one is talking about. Look at the color scheme of this plane. White, red, blue. Now, look at the color scheme of this plane. White, red, and blue. But from the bottom instead of from the top is the other one. So this plane, his old plane, this is the original Donald Trump plane, is the exact same color of the new plane. This plane is going nowhere. Who's Donald Trump kidding? He's going to keep this plane. He's a grifter.
And people worry about what our tax dollars with the SNAP program is going to, people buy sugar cakes, pies, and stuff like that. And here we are, we spent what, hundreds of millions, was $400 some million to retrofit this plane to be an Air Force One that's only going to be in service for 2 years before, because the America had already ordered 2 new Air Force One planes that was set to be delivered in 2028 or 2029. So what are we doing? Isn't this, did y'all say stop wasting y'all money, stop wasting your tax dollars? But he gets to give himself, use the tax dollars to renovate a whole jet for himself that he's going to keep, that he claimed that he isn't going to keep, is going to go to his presidential library. I don't understand why they keep letting this man lie to them. I just do not understand why they keep letting this happen. I just don't get it. And these people follow him to the ends of the earth, and I just don't get it why they gotta. Let's move into this this next video. So here we go.
What you're watching right here is something that should be happening everywhere. Connecticut Governor Ned Lamont is signing Senate Bill 397, which bars ICE agents from wearing masks. It also allows Connecticut residents to sue ICE if they're breaking the law. It also prevents people from being arrested for unlawful presence in hospitals, schools, and other public places. This should be happening everywhere.
I agree. That should be happening everywhere. Let's move into this next clip.
So Donald Trump's friends are now calling for immigrants to be sterilized after the Supreme Court ruled against him on birthright citizenship. This is Sean Davis. He's the CEO of The Federalist and friend of Donald Trump, and he says there's ways to go around the Supreme Court ruling. He says nullification, pack the court with MAGA justices, deny entry to all pregnant foreigners. What? Deny entry to all women. And then finally, he says, require sterilization of all foreign visitors prior to entry. This guy is insane. MAGA is insane. He also calls for the dissolution of the union or amending the Constitution, just changing it because they don't like it. People like this guy and Donald Trump and the people around him are just straight up evil. They would very much benefit from going outside every once in a while, finding a hobby, touching grass, just something that gets you out of the house so you don't fall into this weirdo pipeline.
That guy needs to be checked into an insane asylum, because sterilizing people, and what did we do? Amend the Constitution. I thought only the people can. I thought Only the people can overthrow the government to start a new government or reestablish a new government. I swear, this stuff that goes on in this country is just so freaking frustrating. But anywho, let's head into this next clip about voting. Well, the elections, I should say. So here we go.
Some breaking news tonight. President Trump has fired the leadership of the Election Assistance Commission. This is a commission that's responsible for providing support for election security to the states. It is a bipartisan commission, and Trump has now apparently gutted it completely. This is coming at a time when the president has been very transparent. He wants to change the voting rules. In fact, just this week, the New York Times reported that the administration is threatening to withhold anti-terrorism funding from states that refuse to make changes to their voting rules. But this commission is also responsible for certifying election machines, which has been a key target of President Trump's anger, especially over the 2020 election. The Brennan Center tonight responded to this by saying that the commission by law is required to have 4 members, half of which, 2, are from the opposite party. So it's bipartisan by law. Now, it's unclear if President Trump plans to name new members to the commission or simply leave this commission without leadership altogether. But there is a law in place that requires that it remains bipartisan. One of the other reasons that this could be happening is, remember, not too long ago, the Supreme Court just said that the president has pretty broad leeway to fire members of independent commissions. That essentially paved the way for this to happen tonight. We're going to discuss this and the implications for the upcoming midterm elections, which are now just a few months away. And President Trump continues to push for major election changes while we are in the middle of an election cycle. We'll see you at 10 p.m.
Can you say election fraud without saying election fraud? Because he was so worried about election fraud. Here he is trying to commit election fraud to win the election. Like, sir, it's not going to happen. Like, you don't anger so many people, and it's just not going to happen. It's not. And if it somehow do happen, I'll just be so surprised if it do happen, because people are tired. People are tired of struggling. Every promise that you made on your campaign, you lied about, except for starting a war. You said you wasn't going to start a war, and you started a war. You didn't bring down the price of food. You drove up the cost of gas. You drove up the cost of food. You drove up inflation. Housing is still unaffordable. People can't buy houses. So it's just so many things that's going on, and he knows that he's messed up, and he's trying to do everything possible to make sure that these midterm elections go in his direction, which I don't think they're going to go in his direction because of all the stuff that he's been doing. And I have another video clip from our favorite redhead also when it comes to elections. So here we go.
They're trying to scare you again. This time they're trying to scare you by claiming they're going to make up new rules at the last minute. They're not going to be able to do that. Just so you know, they're trying to scare people to not use mail-in voting. Mail-in voting has been a thing in this country for over 150 years. We invented mail-in ballots so soldiers during the Civil War, during an active war, could still vote in their hometown. And they want to convince you right now that, mail-in ballots have all these issues. They don't. We've been doing it the same way the entire time. An American citizen registers to vote in their hometown. Then they request a mail-in ballot. The mail-in ballot gets sent to them. They fill it out, and then they mail it back in, and then it gets counted. It's been the whole same system, 150 years. They're trying to propose, not actually locking anything in yet, but just sprinkle out there a little bit of doubt. And I want to let you know, people are fighting back against it. People are pushing back. They got legislation to fight against it. They got rules to fight against it. There's already laws on the books. There's lawsuits. But here's the thing you really need to know at the end of the day. All of our elections in America are truly local. Yeah, we have federal elections for federal positions, but those are run by the states. Our secretaries of states, the actual states themselves, the county registrar's office, down to the little old lady at that desk who's checking your name against a book. All of that shit is local.
So when you hear about new proposed rules around mail-in ballots and the post office, just know it's bullshit. Just know you're only saying this shit because they're nervous. They're nervous for what you're going to say in November. And just keep that in your heart. You know what you're going to say. You know what your neighbors are going to say. You know what your community is going to say. And when they show up from out of town to tell us what we said was wrong, we get to look them dead in the face and go, fuck you. I know my rights.
Fuck you. I know my rights. I agree with him what he was saying 100%. I've done mail-in voting before. Just for the simple fact, I don't like my polling location here. They moved into one of the dusty, dirtiest. It just when you walk in there, it smell like paint thinner, peppermints, and old people. It was just a horrible experience. So I started doing mail-in voting, or I go do the early voting thing. Because basically, early voting, when you go do that, it's almost the same thing as when you're doing your. It's the same thing as when you do mail-in voting. They still put your ballot still goes in a certified envelope that you would have gotten if it would have got mailed to your house, and it sits in the envelope until the election day where it's finally counted. So I don't understand why they're still so upset about mail-in ballots. But yeah. So yeah, let's head into this next clip.
What do you do when you manage a team of like Gen Z people who don't care to go above and beyond and really care more about work-life balance?
You pay them to go above and beyond. You let them know, hey, this is what I need you to do and this is what I'm paying for. But the problem is y'all want six-figure work but don't want to pay six figures. In your job description, you want to be vague so you don't have to pay as much and then get mad when you get vague work. This isn't hard. It's not rocket science, and I hate when employers make it hard on themselves. You want above and beyond work? Pay above and beyond wages. And of course, they care more about work-life balance because their lives don't revolve around work. What is up with employers that don't care about work-life balance? That is the #1 driving tool to get good workers. And I'ma just say it, y'all don't want workers, y'all want slaves. Y'all want people that's going to dedicate 100% of their time to your company. You want people to care about work? How about you care about them? That is basic 101 in any relationship. I need y'all to understand that people don't care about your business. You care about your business. We just want to pay our bills. So if you want people to go above and beyond, I promise you, all you have to do is just pay them above and beyond wages. I guarantee that. This is literally common sense for me. I don't know how it's so hard for y'all to understand, but y'all let me know what y'all think. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.
That is one thing I have said for a long time. Like, if you want me to do above and beyond work or do more work than what I'm expected to do, I'm gonna need you to pay me more than I'm expected to do money when it comes to me doing work. Because these jobs want you to be there and slave and work yourself down to the bone. Get home from work, you're tired, and because you're tired, they be starting arguments. Well, not even arguments. That's other petty old people. They be come home and the kids get on their nerves and all these other kind of things, and it's just and like I said, it's been days where I've come home, I got off of work and stuff. I don't know, like I would have had a long day, and I come home and I got off of work and it's been days where I'm asleep by 6:30 p.m. And I get home by 4 and I'm asleep by 6:30 p.m. and I won't wake up again until the next day, and I will still wake up tired. That's just how tiring that work can be sometimes, and our employers really need to understand that, because then on top of that, you want people to go above and beyond and they're short staff. Like, what part of you're gonna burn your staff out? If you burn your staff out, nobody's coming to work, then what's gonna happen? And then the ones who are faithfully coming to work and doing what they're supposed to do, it's just there's like they're being punished. I don't understand why the employers always punish the people who come in and work and do their job they're supposed to do it, and the ones who ain't doing what they're supposed to be doing, constantly calling in to work and all these other kind of things, nothing happens. And these people are hanging around for a long time. These people be around a whole year and a half, 2 years before they get fired. It ain't fair. Stop asking people to go above and beyond, and you ain't paying above and beyond money. To keep things going, there's this feel-good video of this bus driver that I came across. I was like, where? I believe this is a local bus driver here where I live at in Milwaukee. And I want to play the clip for you.
A wave from bus driver Natalie Barnes on her normal route in downtown Milwaukee. Richard, a regular, gets on the bus with some difficult news.
I am officially homeless.
What happened?
The house was condemned, and
The house that you were staying in, the same one that had the fire?
yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I've been out on the streets for a week.
Natalie is clearly upset, offering Richard food and to stay warm on her bus.
Let me go buy some dinner. No. Well, I'm on the bus at 2:44. You want to stay with me then? Okay.
Richard stayed on for 6 hours. During Natalie's break, she bought him dinner.
I don't know what to say, but
You're welcome.
I'll get it to you.
No, you won't. Don't worry about that. I want to help you.
And before her shift was over, Natalie had found a shelter. And tonight, the Milwaukee County Transit System telling us community advocates found Richard permanent housing.
I love that story, and I'm so happy to see that there are still some good people out there in this crazy world that we live in today. So it's nice to see that we have good people out there. So this next clip I had came across was from a, I believe, a former U.S. soldier, and I'm just going to play the clip because I feel like he really had a very powerful message. So I'm going to play the clip for you.
When they say, why would you be out here? How the fuck could I not be out here? You know? Like, my nation is under attack.
It's an Army Ranger, 1st Ranger Battalion, did 6 combat deployments to Afghanistan. Pretty bad PTSD. I spent like almost 2 years in inpatient, a whole lot of time in outpatient, working on that. I was assaulted and then arrested by ICE the other day out here. And then they couldn't press the charges, of course, because there's video on CNN of them coming at me as I'm backing away from them. So we're at Whipple and they take you in there. It's Homeland Security asking about, like, you're from Philadelphia. Why? We can't comprehend why you would be here. And I'm like, well, because the nation that I was willing to die for is being systematically oppressed with men in military uniforms, a private army told by the president they have no other laws to follow than his, and they're systematically attacking and even killing our neighbors in the United States of America. I can't understand how all my veteran buddies are, like, still along with this. It's like we took an oath to the Constitution. And that's just being shredded right now. How could so many people swear an oath to something and then fucking Humpty Dumpty orange man is out here and they're like, no, we're going to follow him instead of this oath that we took that we all swore to uphold and defend against enemies foreign and domestic. This has all of the signs from every fascist movement in history that we're going to lose the opportunity to resist. So that's why I'm here.
Soldier, thank you for speaking up. Thank you for your sacrifice and what you have done for this country. And like I said, we need to keep this fight. We need to keep this up. We need to figure out ways to stop this regime from being able to be successful in what it's doing. Because as you can see, even this soldier, it's like, this isn't right. I'm going to be out here and I'm going to protest. I'm going to make my voice be heard. I'm going to do what needs to be done to stop this from happening. So, soldier, thank you. Thank you so much for that. So there's this thing been going on with Netflix. And they was like, Netflix has been asking questions like, why is people canceling? Why is people not staying? Like, how can you get people watching more Netflix? One of the things is Netflix that I got, the beef I got with you guys are, like a show get really good, and then next thing you know, you cancel it after one season. I'm like, well, you guys made me, get into the show, dedicate time. Like, we're tired of dedicating time to shows and never getting an ending, or you're canceling it while the show is even playing out on the air or whatever on that streaming on Netflix. You're canceling it. The movies are terrible, and I feel like then the pricing, it ain't just the pricing too. The pricing is bad. Y'all know y'all try to make up for that money y'all paid WWE to have WWE Raw on Netflix, and WWE just sucks right now, and nobody's barely watching. Hell, people not even showing up for the shows no more right now. Half the arenas are empty, so you're trying to recoup that money. And like I said, some of your shows, most of the shows are terrible. And like I said, like it's so hard for me to like watch a show that's just like really that's strictly done by Netflix, like it's a Netflix series, because I don't want to dedicate the time to it because you guys are not going to finish it. I feel like the only one you have that gave us more than one season to was Orange is the New Black, Outer Banks, The Night Agent. I believe you already announced a new season for The Night Agent, and it's another one that I watch on there. It only got 2 seasons, really good, but I'm pretty sure your guys canceled that too. So I ain't been another season of that either. But yeah, Netflix. That's why a lot of people are not watching your stuff no more. But I got a clip of a woman talking about it. So here we go. This is the same one from last week. She talked about the mayor of New York, by the way.
Netflix, come here. We need to have a little family meeting because y'all keep asking, how can we get more people to watch Netflix? And some of us who have been here since these little red envelope days, we got a lot to tell you. Just come on. Y'all trying to solve a kitchen fire by rearranging the cabinets. That ain't gonna work. One reason why people have slowed down watching Netflix, they're tired of getting emotionally invested in a show, only for y'all to turn around and take it behind a barn and get rid of it. Mindhunter, anyone? Yeah, I'm still salty. Because why am I learning characters and backstories, family trauma, fictional government issues, when y'all already got the cancellation paperwork sitting on the printer? Now I'm scared to date your shows because they don't believe in commitment. And then you also need to bring back the real rating system. That thumbs up, thumbs down stuff is not enough. A show can be like, I could fold my laundry to it. Or it could be, I canceled my plans because I need to finish this thing. But those are not the same things. And then the Netflix recommendations. I watched one baking show, and I swear y'all think I'm opening up a cupcake shop. The magic of old Netflix used to be discovery, finding weird documentaries, indie movies, hidden gems. Now it feels like you're walking into this giant store and an employee keeps blocking you going, don't go this way, go that way. Netflix, the answer to your problem may not be, wait for it, higher prices. Real talk, you don't even need a whole lot of new features. Maybe, just maybe, it's remembering why people fell in love with y'all in the first place. What would Netflix have to change for you to start watching it more? Because I know I'm not the only one that feels like this.
I feel like she hit everything on the head and described it better than I did. But yeah, Netflix, y'all need to go back to the original Netflix, how things used to be. So this next one I came across. This is one of the videos. It's a video from a guy that we saw earlier in this show. And when I saw this video, I was just like, people are really weird and disgusting. So let's just watch this video.
Would you rather be a trans or a pedophile?
I'm gonna be a pedophile.
I know I have big ears. So normally I hear things correctly, but I'm just gonna put my AirPods in because I heard that wrong. I had to have. There's no way. So let me listen one more time.
I'm gonna be a pedophile.
So unfortunately, I did hear you correctly. And as you could tell, I don't have the same opinion. I do just have a question for the people that are choosing pedo. Why do y'all hate trans folks more than pedos? Like, why are you more comfortable being a pedo than a trans woman or a trans man? I'm confused. Either we need to check your fucking, actually, no, there is no either. Check your phone.
I'm with him. So this next clip, I don't know how this man is married to this woman. I've seen a few of their videos before. I believe I played one here a long time ago, but her logic, I don't know. Like, this woman gives me, I don't know how he's married to this woman. So let's just take a look.
You want to hit me with that fact again?
It's genetic. If you're not able to have kids, you're sterile. It's because your parents were sterile.
I'm sorry, but if you're hold on, let me just walk myself through this. If your parents were sterile, meaning that your parents
could not have kids,
can't have children,
right?
And you're not adopted. right? This isn't talking about adopted parents, right?
Genetically. You get that from your family.
Your parents cannot have children.
Right.
So therefore you won't be able to have children.
Because you got it from them.
I'm getting hung up on one part of this. How did your parents have children?
There's adoption routes that
you literally just said your genetic parents, not adopted. So
just because you're adopted doesn't mean you're not family.
You're going way off track. Genetically.
Right, which is
genetically,
your family.
If your parents are sterile,
right,
they're unable to have children from them. They can pass that
along to their kids. They can pass it along to their kids, and then
what kids are they passing it on to?
The children they have.
How do they have the kids if they're sterile?
There's so many different routes you can, like, avenues available, like adoption or foster. But they can pass that along to their kids, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh my gosh.
What's that? The daughter in the back seat? 'Cause even she looking like, I'm sick of this shit. I'm like, his frustration. I don't know how he's married to her. Like, there is no way I could be married to someone who thinks like that. There's just no way possible. Okay, so with all that being said, I guess we can head into final thoughts. Okay, my final thought is, America, we gotta do better. We need to find a way to put an end to racism. Let's make life affordable again. We need to. I don't want to say get back to like the old America, but I just want to really get back to a time where people can just really enjoy life again. Like, is that too hard to ask? Is it so hard to ask for just a time for people to be able to enjoy life again? A time where people can enjoy life again. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Same Cast Different Day podcast, and we'll be back next Sunday, 7:30 p.m., hopefully live, with another episode of Same Cast Different Day podcast. So you all have a good one. We'll see you on the next one.